Hello, hello, hello. Are you there? I'm here. Are you? Well, you're not here, but anyway. Um, I'm back again for another live stream. I'll take my glasses off in a minute, but it's a bit hay fevery out there. Maybe I should put them back on again. Um, I feel like I need to be in disguise today because I'm going to share with you some really behind the scenes things as far as the regulars are concerned. Now, um, as you know, there are plenty of regulars on the Shy Life podcast, and well, I there are certain voices that are associated with each of these characters, and well, they've been heard on the show many times, but I don't think I've ever been recorded doing the voices. Yes, it's me. It's been me all along, but this is behind the scenes. This is not canon. This is not part of the podcast. Now, I did a lot of voices on Sutton Park back in the day, and that was okay because it was video. But I often did voices for characters that you couldn't see, like the puppet characters, such as Cromitty, who was a puppet back in those days. Or I'd be in a disguise, or I'd be my own evil twin or something. But some of the voices I used to do on Sutton Park have come back in the podcast. Some of them I can do without changing the voice modulation. Back in the Sutton Park days, everything had to be whatever I could do with my voice. Now, the first thing I'll say is that I'm not very good at voices. I have a very limited range of voices that I can do. I'm not like Toppy Smelly, who can do many, many, many voices. And he can do a lot of, well, most of his voices he can do without having to tinker with them, which makes it easier to deal with, because sometimes I'm editing an episode at the moment set at a convention to do with Bettina Dupre, and Aunt Tappy and Bettina are talking, and you have to be very careful they don't overlap, because I need to do post-production work on Bettina, and if I do that over Tappy, she'd sound different. So yes, I would like to do more voices where I don't have to do any sort of modulation or changing, or but I'm just no good at doing them. So you get what you get. So some of the ones I'll do now are going to be voices that I do have to do modulation on, I do have to change, so they won't sound quite like they do on the show. So, for instance, Bettina would sound like, "Oh, hello, darling. How are you?" "Oh, yes. Well, it's wonderful to be here, even if I don't quite sound like my usual self." Oh, gosh. um, I don't know. Perhaps I could get away with Bettina just sounding like that these days. It's just having done post-production work on her for so long. I have done things where I've changed, like characters have slowly been sort of scaled down. So I changed. Martin used to be higher pitch, and I've dropped his voice down. In fact, I don't quite know how to put this into words, except to say the setting that I use for Bettina, August, Tallulah, and Martin is sort of around 20, the 20 mark, whatever that is on my setting, on my Audacity. At one point they were all a bit different from each other, but I thought it's just easier if everyone's roughly the same. But when I do Martin, I try and do it sort of at the back of my throat in a particular way. Hello. Oh yeah, it's me, Martin. How you doing? It's nice to be here. At my age, it's nice to be anywhere. Actually, I'm not very old, so I think I've got a few more years in me. Maybe. Anyway, so I mean, again, could I do Martin without doing any post production? Maybe I could. Maybe I could. Maybe I should. But I mean, a lot of it comes down to the listener getting into the idea that yes, I know it's the same person, but after a while they stop being the same person and they become separate people. I think anyway. And on shows I've listened to, I don't listen to the Smellcast and think, well, that's just Toppy doing all the voices. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's not. There's no point playing along if you're going to be thinking, oh well, that just sounds like. You have to get into the spirit of things. So who else have I got? Oh well, Damius. Well, August. August Evans, who used to be Damius Twinklehorn. When he first started, oh, he was always like this. His voice was going up and down, and all like that. And it still is like that. But I do post production on it now. His sister Tallulah, she's just a bit. It's the same, really, just a bit more feminine. Oh, my darling, how are you? Oh, it's lovely to meet you. How are you doing? Oh, I'm going to cook you a lovely big pie for your dinner. Oh, he's so sweet. So that's Tallulah. Who else have we got? Some of the more recent characters that have come into the show have been a lot more sort of basic, just like Reginald. Oh, I'm just a bit tired. That's all. Oh, I'm having a nice time. Yes, it's just that. I do sound a bit depressed. I think he's very much Marvin the paranoid android, but not a robot, and not quite as depressed. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have to think of how often the characters are going to be in the show, or how important they're going to be. Because, for instance, Gulliver Tremaine, who I used to play on Sutton Park, he's quite posh. What? Oh, gosh. But really, there's not a lot to it. But he doesn't appear very often, so it doesn't matter that much. Now, Albert the Dragon. Albert the Dragon is the same voice as I used to use for a character on Sutton Park called Little J. Well, Albert the Dragon doesn't need changing. And Albert the Dragon, you speak well. Albert the Dragon speaks like this. Hello, Dad. How you doing? He's a little bit more mature than Little J was. Little J was I'm thinking about your face. I don't know what's going on. No. Little J was slightly more. Yes, I don't know quite how to describe him, but he was a little bit more immature, I suppose, because he was meant to be a kid, whereas Albert the Dragon is I don't know how old he's supposed to be now. He's running his own Phoenix farm, so he must be pretty, good at doing stuff. Who else? Oh, Charlie Gurr, of course. Charlie Gurr comes from like silly banter I used to have with my friend Dr. Neff, who's been on the show. He's just talking like this. My name's Charlie Gurr. I just want pies. I just want some pies. Give me some pies. I mean, it's quite good, isn't it? I like to eat one pie and then two pies, and maybe have a cup of belly button fluff tea, because it's very nice doing it. And yes. Anyway, I'm a very famous bear, I don't know if you know me. Anyway, I've got to go now. I've got to eat 17 pies. All right, goodbye for now. Goodbye. I do find when I'm doing the voices, sometimes while I'm acting out stuff, sometimes I find I'm acting out with my hands, or while I'm on the phone. I kind of mimic doing on the phone. I guess it just sort of helps get into the swing of things, because I'm so used to when I was doing Sutton Park, it all being visual. Who else? There is Wilson Comet. Oh, he's just a bit sort of, oh, how are you doing? There's not a lot to Wilson Comet, really. Just sort of slightly flamboyant character. Who else? Well, there are two others, but I'm keeping them till last. I think that's the main ones. yeah. So the main two that I can do, like until the cows come home, are Cromitty, who just well, he speaks a bit like this, and but I'm sure if you listen back to all of the episodes, going back to when he was in Sutton Park, because of course there were many years when I did not do his voice between like 2000 and 2015 or 16. Um, the poor Cromitty was retired, but now, I don't want anyone to think that I am doing a particular accent, because it's just, to me, it's a generic, like mad scientist voice, um, based on a couple of mad scientists that appeared in Doctor Who. And I don't think they ever said, "Oh, this person is a particular from a particular country." He just had a generic sort of, I guess, mainland Europe, possibly, but it is very sort of, yes. Well, but Comedy is a nice man, really. I mean, he goes through a lot of things. Paul, I I don't know what to do. Yet Uncle John, he's driving me mad. But I do all I can to help him, and he just throws it back in my face. But, yeah, poor old Cromitty. He is always having to deal with Yeti Uncle John's messes. Now, Yeti Uncle John, of course, is a completely different cup of tea. What do you mean I'm a cup of tea? I'll have a cup of tea if you've got one, but I don't think I look much like one. What are you trying to say, Paul? That I look like, I don't know, some sort of browny grey liquid? I don't think I look much like a cup of tea. Oh dear, oh dear. But anyway, um, I've done an episode recently which involves, I guess they're duologues. They're not monologues, I guess, although one person is doing them. But for two characters. Yeah, just a few sketches, situations like Cromitty and Yeti Uncle John discussing a Chinese food menu, or Yeti Uncle John and Cromitty discussing fashion, or like an agony aunt, or Yeti Uncle John deciding that he wants to do it himself, like be a DIY handyman. The good thing about Yeti Uncle John is that the possibilities for what to do with him are almost endless, because you just have to think of the most stupidest job. Not that handymen are stupid jobs, but the idea of Yeti Uncle John being a handyman is a stupid idea, because it's just going to go wrong. Everything goes wrong, mostly. I mean, he's been okay driving the taxi recently, but yeah, you just have to think of a job that doesn't sound like very likely that Yeti Uncle John's going to be successful at. And yeah, yeah. Well, what do you mean, Paul? I mean, there's no reason why on earth I couldn't be a brain surgeon. I've looked on the internet and I've seen there are plenty of courses on how to do it, just like a 5-day course, a little bit of brain surgery, and then, it's possible. It's done. I could be a professional brain surgeon. Uncle John, I really don't think so. I think there's a lot more to it than that. Yes, Yeti Uncle John, I think being a brain surgeon takes quite a lot of technical, I mean, many years of training. But I don't know what you've been looking at. I've been looking at it. It's on the YouTube. It's on the YouTube. He said, how to be a brain surgeon in 5 days. So I've applied. Okay, you've applied. This isn't like when you did magic, and you wanted to specialize in sawing a woman in half. Oh, well, yes. I mean, it didn't always end quite so well, but this is different. It's just brain surgery. Just brain surgery, Yeti Uncle John. I think that involves quite a lot of. Oh, anyway, um, tell me, how much did it cost to join this course? Well, what makes you think it wasn't free? I think it's rather unlikely that any course being advertised online would be free, but well, yeah, obviously I had to pay a little bit of a tuition fee, but it wasn't. It wasn't just. Yeti Uncle John, how much was it? Just like for £5. Well, £500. £500, Yeti Uncle John. You have spent £500 on a 5-day brain surgery course. I mean, oh, I despair. Oh, I just think you're not supporting me. You're not supportive. Oh, it's very difficult to support you sometimes, Yeti Uncle John. These ideas you get in your head. Oh, well, I'm leaving then. Well, I think you better try and get a refund. I think you should probably get a refund as well. Oh dear, I, I'm speechless. Speechless I am. I don't know, Cromitty. What are we going to do about him? I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. Oh well, that's Yeti Uncle John for you, isn't it? So that's the kind of thing that I can just ad lib till the cows come home, and I just love doing it. So I didn't feel right doing the voices to the camera without my glasses, because it feels like I'm betraying them somehow. It feels like I'm betraying their. Um, they're real. They are real. I'm going to go soon, but whilst I'm here, I thought I should share with you something that I've got with me, as I'm currently at my parents' house. And what do you think this is? It's pretty obvious if you listen to the podcast, that is. It's the 1990 diary. And I also now know, having done a video back with Nick at the weekend, that even though it might appear reverse for me on the screen, you'll be seeing it the right way around. So that's fine. But yes, this is my 1990 diary, which I've been reading quite a lot from. Now, I think we've read, look, there's pages. I better not put it too close to the camera. Goodness knows I might be revealing secrets. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of bits of, there's like cinema tickets, and here we got what we got there. Look Who's Talking. I went to see Look Who's Talking on what day? What day was that? Friday the 2nd of April. No, Friday the 20th of April, and it was £1.60. £1.60 to go to the cinema. But yeah, look, bits of paper and everything. And yeah, I did keep the whole. I went to Tintagel Castle in late August. Tintagel Castle. I really, Truro apparently. All this is new to me. I mean, I did it 30 something years ago, but yeah, it is. It's when I read it, it's like reading somebody else's diary. I don't really remember any of it, whereas Nick, he remembers things like a normal person. But anyway, I went to a pizzeria in Portugal. Yeah, there's lots of things about 1990 which, had you asked me before I found this diary, I wouldn't have necessarily said everything. All these things happened in the same year, but it is bizarre that a lot of things happened to me in 1990, which I still sometimes reference, and are kind of cool. Well, I think they're kind of cool, at least in my own personal history. What's he talking about, Cromitty? He's talking about his 1990 diary. Now, I know you don't find it interesting, but some people do. I don't think there's many people who find it interesting, Cromitty. Don't be mean. Let indulge him. Indulge him in his 1990 diary, but not my scientific, education. My 5-day course on. Yeah. Did you get your refund? No, they said it's non-returnable. Oh dear, Yeti Uncle John. Anyway, 1990 diary, and I think that's all really. I've got to say this time. Oh, crash! Things falling down. Okay, right. Well, I'll say goodbye for now. I must actually tell people I'm doing these rather than just deciding to do them. So, and one last thing. Those of you who listen to the podcast, the Shy Life podcast, may remember an episode where Paul from school and I did a fashion parade. I should get the other classes out, but anyway, this pair was one of the pairs that I was wearing when we recorded that. But but I have got other pairs. But anyway, right, well, I better say goodbye. Join me again soon for more behind the scenes on the Shy Life podcast. All right, hope this has been fun. Bye for now.